I was recently admitted onto a Zoom call early and was able to witness the conversation between three directors. They were talking about an initiative that they were planning to run. They'd had some feedback that in their tenders they weren't particularly strong around sustainability, and they wanted to find a way to improve what they capture and how they present and demonstrate their sustainability credentials. I listened for a while, and as the meeting and the discussion drew to a close, I felt it was an ideal opportunity just to add in my two penneth worth. So I took the opportunity to ask them about not so much the technical content of the initiative, but how they were going to implement it. We had an interesting conversation, and it went along the lines of, is this going to be one of those traditional initiatives where the directors launch something and they set it running, they issue some directions, they tell some people what to do, and then they sit back and wait. And they wait. And slowly but surely they hear the message. There's a bit of discontent around it. Things aren't happening the way they'd hoped, and slowly it withers and dies, and it never delivered what they'd hoped for. By contrast, we then had a conversation about, well, what would be a more appropriate way to plan, to prepare, to organise roles and responsibilities and make it clear what was expected of who, when, and put a structure behind it to give it the best opportunity to deliver. It gave me the opportunity to share with them something I'd picked up some time ago on some process management training from a guy by the name of Ian Gotts. He referred to this formula as his fundamental law of business. And the formula is this: R equals I times A squared. Results equals initiatives times adoption squared. So the mathematicians among you would know that if you take a number and square it, you multiply it by itself. And if that's a number which is less than 1, it's only ever going to get smaller. The concept behind the formula is really to try and make the point. It's not about how many initiatives you have or run, but it's about how well you implement them. How well do they become adopted by the workforce? If they're not well adopted, the results won't be good, and adding another initiative will not plug the gap. So let me try and explain. If you're running a program and you look to achieve an 80% adoption, 80% of the workforce are actively participating in taking it forward, that would probably at face value sound quite positive. But when you apply the formula, 0.8 multiplied by 0.8 is 0.64. So it doesn't matter if you've got one initiative or 10 initiatives, but when you multiply that by 0.64, the number is getting smaller. So if you get 80% adoption, the likelihood is you're going to struggle to get more than about 2/3 of the outcome that you were hoping to achieve. If you just take for a moment then a slightly lesser, but still probably frequently achieved level of adoption of about 60%. Multiply that up and that comes down to a little over 1/3, 0.36, 36%. So again, an outcome which is probably way, way less than those was anticipated. So the lesson that I'm really trying to share with you is this idea that if you want to improve, think and focus on the implementation. How are people going to adopt it? Don't worry about how many, but one well implemented will bring far greater value than a number poorly implemented. So it's R equals I A squared. For results, focus on adoption. If you want to find out more and have some conversations around these kind of topics, let's connect. Connect with me via email, which is paul.haxel@adortiosolutions.co.uk. Or what is probably far easier is to connect via LinkedIn, and then we can have a chat and see where we go from here. Thank you. Until next time.